This tutorial is intended to help teachers know how to navigate and to find reports on the Star Reading website. The Star Reading website looks like this. On its homepage, you can click this blue Star Reading button to display a list of possible parts of the site you would like to go to. In this case, this video is intended to help you find and view the reports that indicate the various reading levels of respective students in your classroom. So click Star Reading and go to Reports. My tutorial is limited because I've screenshot each page to ensure that I black out various confidential information about the school, teacher, and students. When you click Reports, it brings up this screen. These are the various reports that can be utilized to be able to help you in instructing your students based on their respective reading levels. The diagnostic tool, the instructional planning student tool, and the annual progress tool are the three tools that I find most useful. For this particular tutorial, I will only show you the submenu of the diagnostic tool. The instructional planning student tool and the annual progress tool both have submenus that are very similar to the diagnostic submenu. Let's take a look at that diagnostic submenu. You will see that you have various options that can be selected based on your particular preferences and what you want to locate. Typically, I'm either looking for an entire class's information or I'm looking for one particular student. If I'm looking for one particular class, I click on this button and a drop-down menu appears of periods that I teach. Select the period that you want the information on and click View Report. The View Report button is located at the top or the bottom of this screen. If you want a specific student, you can click on Students, and an alphabetical listing of all of your students that you teach will appear. You can select one or as many of those students as you would like, then click View Report, and a populated report will appear of those selected students. Let's take a look at the diagnostic report. In this sample, you will notice that the school's information, the student's information, the class information, and the teacher information would appear at the top, as well as the time it took a student to take the test and the day that that student took a test. Pay attention to the test time, especially in instances where a student has scored very low. A low test time, that is, if it took a matter of seconds or a matter of a couple of minutes, indicates that a student likely did not put his or her best effort into taking the test. Every student should have on the diagnostic report a bar that is red, yellow, blue, and green. There are some students who may not have all colors of the bar. What this would mean is the student has scored so low that reflecting the blue and green is not important, or that a person has scored so high that displaying the red is not essential. Red indicates urgent intervention, yellow indicates the need for intervention, and the blue indicates that a person is on watch, and the green indicates at or above benchmark. In this case, the scaled score of this individual is 608. Their Lexile measure is 835. A description of what is a Lexile measure is located here, but essentially the Lexile measure indicates grade level reading ability. This particular student ranked 8th in percentile and therefore falls well below expectations at the grade level reading ability. GE indicates grade equivalent, and so this person reads essentially at a 5.5, that is a 5th grade reading level. The instructional reading level is an indicating number that suggests this reading level is where the student would best learn. The 4.9, or the essentially 5th grade reading level, is where this student reads fluently and would be best capable of understanding. Domain scores are registered at a 0 to 100 range, and therefore this particular student scores below 50% in every domain area. So this student has a long way to go in improving his or her reading ability. The zone of proximal development indicates that this is a safe range for this student to be able to read. That is, the text complexity of their reading. So it would be more difficult for this student if the teacher gave 6th grade or above Lexile ranges as assignments. This particular student scored in the yellow, the intervention level. His or her Lexile measure is 1030 and percentile rank 19. Grade equivalent is essentially 7th grade, and you can see and view some of that information. Another example is this particular student in the higher scoring range of the intervention level. Again, a 7th grade equivalent, 22nd percentile for 10th grade. And finally, this student who also scored in the yellow. Hopefully this has been useful to you to be able to read the diagnostic report. Let's take a look at the individual student report to be able to see the instructional planning. So this instructional planning report gives you what hopefully a student should be able to accomplish in the course of a year. By the end of the year, it is projected that this student should be able to develop to the high blue range, that is the high on watch range, at approximately the 975 Lexile score. And the student is currently under 950 as his or her score is 937. What's very useful about the instructional planning report are the suggested skills that provide college and career readiness standard information about key ways that this student can grow. If you would like to help this student to grow, then you can utilize this report to read through the suggested areas in which this person could grow or be strengthened. This student is in the blue and therefore does not have much recommended about areas of growth. Instead, this is much more in the standpoint of enrichment and becoming even stronger than this person already is. Next, let's take a look at the annual progress report. The annual progress report is especially useful after a student has taken at least 2 STAR reading tests. This student, or these students that you will see, have tested on August 16th or around that date and around late November. You will notice that this student has increased in his or her reading ability. On the first test, this student had a scaled score of 682 Lexile, a 6.1 grade equivalent. And within just a few months, the student is already at a 7.2 grade equivalent, a score of 817. This student has also grown. In this case, the students had an original score of 618, 5.6 grade equivalent, but then a few months later scored a 768, that is almost a 7th grade equivalent. Finally, this student also showed improvement. A grade equivalent of 4.9 on 818 and a grade equivalent of 5.7 on 1130. Not as much growth as the previous students, but still what we would hope to be finding when students repeat taking the STAR report or STAR test. If the STAR test is given again later on in the academic year, it also will appear, and any successive test taking will also appear on this report.